Hey guys, welcome back. This is Blue Phoenix, aka Erkin Fresh. We're going to be sprucing up these bass note lanes because right now they are really boring. So let's fix this problem right now. What are we going to do? So right now it's just a flat thing going on here. It's really quite dull. I'm going to start off by doing a more kind of a classic off bass sound, and then we're going to make it more complicated as we go. So I'm going to take this A3 and I'm going to do the second half of the beat. It turns out as I was working on the tune, I found that both the quicker bass and the slower bass both had kind of their own parts and they all sounded good. So I ended up using them both in the end. So I'm finding that bass to be a little bit dull right now. I'm going to open it up some with my, this is attached to my my filter cutoff. So what I do is I group my synth, even though it's the only thing, I can group it and attach a knob to this depth here. The reason I do that is now I have a way to edit the range on this knob. So I want to go from the midpoint. So when this knob is all the way down, I want it to be, well, there. I'm going to go ahead and open it all the way up and adjust the maximum until I hear about where I like for it to be at the maximum. About right there, that 0.73 is about where I don't hear any new differences. So we're going to do filter cutoff. So that could be handy when we want to do like a filter down. We could just adjust this knob instead of using an auto filter on top of that. So that being said, this is actually not terribly bad for a start. But we're going to want a chord progression that does a little bit more than this. So this is just one bar, and we're going to duplicate this bar twice. So we're going to have 4 bars at A3. I'm going to duplicate this again. So we have 4 bars of A3, and then we're going to raise this. I'm sorry, we're going to actually drop this down to D3. And this guy's going to be F3. Let's just solo this for now. Let's see how that's going to sound. Just mute this. Cool, huh? For the second half, I'm actually going to go ahead and make this a 16-bar dealio. I'm going to take these last 4 bars and jump them up an octave. You just hit shift up on Ableton and it knocks it up an octave. And let's see how the sub bass sounds with that. Yeah, it's kind of starting to break apart a little bit there on that lower note, I think. So I'm gonna have to stop relying on the input here. Say auto all ends. We're gonna copy this over. And all I really want is to flip these up. I think I don't need these notes. It also gives you a nice counterpoint, which is where you've got this as normally lower an octave, but it's going to jump up while the bass goes down. It's going to kind of, well, you'll hear it. Here we go. Easier to hear than explain. Some clipping here. I'm going to bring that down a little bit. Your ears don't explode. All right, so that's a pretty good start. I think that's good for a chord progression. So that we're going to call this slow A because it's not quick, it's slow. Now, given this chord progression, I'm going to copy this down here and call this, we're going to make a quick version of this, which if you've heard the track, you know that it goes to 16th notes at one point during the climax of the track, and kind of just explodes all over your face. So let's do, all we got to do here is grab these notes and shrink it down to a 16th, and then just duplicate these across. Now, sounds like poo, right? So there's no space. We need to adjust that. Ooh. Grab all these notes and let's see here. All right, and we're going to take these notes now and duplicate these across. So let me just do that. Oh, this could be really tedious. Is that what I want? Yeah, that's what I want. And that's what you should want. Okay, so if I take these and knock them down with the down arrow. Donk. And I'll tell you what, instead of doing all that, let's just cut this in half and hit double loop. Boom. Take these, shift up, and I'll tell you what, let's not worry about the sub bass just right now. So all right, so that's a start. I like to get a little crazy sometimes. So if you've heard the track, you know that at one point these notes are just all over the place. So we're going to go ahead and just bump these around. This can be a really tedious process. It depends on how deeply you want to get in with it. But really it's just a matter of kind of bumping your notes around. Again, with shift, you can just kind of bump entire octaves. So I'm going to start creating the pattern that I had created then. I've got a screenshot to go with. Hopefully you can follow along. Also in the remix pack you can find these patterns in the MIDI clips, so you can save yourself some headache. And it starts to take shape really fast. You'd be surprised at how quickly this starts to sound pretty awesome. So look, I've just bumped a few notes around. And it's already sounding a lot better. And it's a lot of experimentation. I just kind of bump them around, see how that first little part sounds, and then you know, work on the next few. And it just starts to take a lot shape really quickly. And anyway, how are you? Hope you're enjoying the tutorial so far. I do this because, I don't know, I just kind of think it's fun to teach others how to make music. And there was a website called Sonic Academy that I learned a lot from. Tons and tons and tons. And they didn't have any freeform tutorials. It's really not a very popular genre of music. I don't know why, because it's awesome. But I don't know, people just didn't ask for it much, and so it never really got any tutorials out there at Sonic Academy. But that's why I'm here. It's kind of why I got into it, was to just teach others what I know a little bit about in freeform. How's this sound now? Kick ass. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I'm just kind of showing you, all right, well, I'll just bump these around and that's a really great effect. I'm going to take the lazy way out. Since I already did this the hard way the first time, and you've got these MIDI notes, I'm just going to grab this BassQuick A, throw that in here, and SubQuickA. This is the whole 16 bar shebang. I really only had to do, I think I did the first 4 bars, and then I kind of duplicated it across. And when you change the root note, it changes where some of these notes go. With A minor, it's all the white keys, so it's pretty straightforward. The reason I did the sub differently was, once again, I felt that when these notes got too low, the sub started to lose its power. So basically, I just took the last 8 bars of this, and that's the quick one. So here you go. So if you've heard the full track, it sounds familiar to you. Oops. I think that's basically it for now. We'll actually come back, and there will be a part of the track that has a key change later. That was totally by kind of an accidental surprise. I was experimenting a little bit. I thought, man, that sounds pretty good. So we'll bring those in later and experiment with those in a little bit. So that kind of gets our bass going. Again, those are in the remix pack, so if you haven't downloaded that yet, go get it, and that'll save you the trouble of putting these notes in yourself. So in the next part of the tutorial, the next lesson, we're going to cover creating a cool lead sound. We're going to use Hive. We're going to use an arpeggiator, and we're going to make it sound really epic. That overused word of today, we're going to make an epic sounding arpeggiated lead. So I'll catch you next time.